Hey everybody, how's it going? This is Max with BuzzTox here, and I am back with a Westworld Season 2, Episode 5 prediction video. In this video, I look at absolutely everything, from the Episode 5 trailer, to the released photos, to even the title of the episode to try and predict and theorize what I think will happen. And I think the synopsis of this episode pretty much sums up what we're gonna get. And that is welcome to Shogun World. And I think that based on the trailer and everything we've seen, that Shogun World is gonna take about 90% of this episode. And we could potentially be seeing a really big action sequence. Now, before we get into Shogun World, I want to talk about a new character. And this character is called Musashi. And I believe that this character is going to be a lot more than a side character. And I think we're going to be seeing a lot of him in more upcoming episodes. Because firstly, he's the first character that's actually based on a historical figure. Musashi was an actual person born in 1584. And this guy was a swordsman, philosopher, writer, and most importantly, a Ronin. And for those of you who don't know, a Ronin is a samurai without a lord or master. And just because of that, it means to me that he doesn't follow a particular shogun. So he's more likely to go rogue with Maeve in whatever adventure she encounters. But one more thing you need to know about this character is that he's an amazing sword fighter. And this guy's renowned for his double-bladed swordsmanship. So it's almost a guarantee we're going to see some really cool action scenes in this episode. And in this episode, he fulfills that role. And it seems like Maeve will be able to spend some quality time with him. The sword that she dodges, I think it could potentially be Musashi. And one thing I get into before Maeve's journey is a certain quote that she says.
I think I'm finding a new voice.
Maeve says that she thinks she's finding a new voice. And now she says she's going to use it. And I think this perfectly sums up Maeve's relationship with the maze. I always believed that she never reached the center of her maze. The coding that told her to infiltrate their mainland was immediately denied in the code after. And Maeve hasn't been having the same experiences as Bernard or Dolores. She's not looking back at her past reveries. She's not getting confused with the timelines. But I think this voice that Maeve is hearing is the start of her entering the maze. And ideally she needs to get like Dolores, reach true consciousness, where this voice that you hear is yourself. And I believe Maeve will reach that point when she sees her daughter. When she realizes that her cornerstone, her daughter, actually has a new mother. And that would be the tragedy that would push her forward into true consciousness. But now let's get into the layout of the episode. We last saw Maeve, Sizemore, and everyone else get caught in Shogun World. And to be honest, this kind of confused me, how they ended up in Shogun World by accident. But we're left with a cliffhanger with many questions. Can Maeve stop the samurai? Can she control them? And I think based on the situation, no, she can't. And I think they get ambushed, and I think that they get captured. Even with all their guns and heavy artillery, I think they're going to be facing an enemy they've never faced before. Ninjas are sneaky, and I don't think they're really prepared to fight them. So I don't think there's any trickery going on here. I don't think Maeve hacked into these samurai hosts. I don't think she's setting up some secret plot. Because her main priority is to get to her daughter, and her daughter is in Westworld. So I think Maeve is going to do everything she can to try and get herself out of this predicament. And that's when we see them get escorted into town. And this is where it gets foggy because their survival is dependent on the relationship that they make with this society. I think because they look so foreign, they'll be seen as almost gods or bad omens. But I think somehow, some way, Maeve will end up winning over their favor. We see Maeve finishing the sentence of one of these women. She heard in her dreams that this is a new world, and in this world, you can be whatever you want to be. First of all, this quote is something Maeve said last season. It was written in her code.
This is the new world. And in this world, you can be whoever the fuck you want.
And even in this season, they've teased that Maeve is still following her current code. She's following the script that Sizemore gave her. That's another hint that she's not truly conscious. But this also hints that Maeve is pulling some kind of a scheme here. She might have been able to hack into this woman and give her this line of script, making her look more like a god, painting her with good omens, and getting good terms with the Shogun. And it seems like Maeve does earn their favor because we see her sitting next to the Shogun during the Mai festival. But I think near the end of the episode, we see that chaos breaks out. And I initially thought about all these crazy plot points. I thought you might try and kill the Shogun and try and make her escape. But I think what happens here is that they're caught off guard. There are two different clans at play. There's the one clan that Maeve seems to be on good terms with, and they have kind of a spiral symbol. And then there's the new clan that arrives and appears to be aggressive, and they have almost like a division symbol. And with that, we're going to see fighting between the two clans. We see that Musashi is going to be fighting them back, and we see Hector and Armistice with him, almost getting ready to continue that fight. And I think that this fight will bleed into the festival. And that literally goes into the title of this episode. This episode is called Akane no Mai. Akane means deep red, and Mai means a slow Japanese dance. It's some type of festival. So in translation, it means deep red festival. In other words, blood, a blood festival. And that's seemingly what we see based on this trailer. We see a fight breaking out. We see Maeve pull out a sword as her face is covered in blood. I think there's going to be a lot of fighting, and Maeve, Armistice, Sizemore, Hector, and everyone else will hopefully make it out alive. But I think the key is that they'll make it out with the help of Musashi, and he will help them journey the lands of Shogun World and help Maeve reach her daughter. But then that takes us to Dolores, and I think she's going to have a very small but key role to this episode. We see the self-playing piano that's actually located in Sweetwater. It's in Maeve's old brothel. It's called Mariposa's Saloon. And it makes sense that we're seeing Dolores in Sweetwater because she told Teddy that they need to go there, because she needs something there. What I find interesting is that she didn't really need to go there until Abernathy was taken. So I'm not sure what it is she's looking for, but it may have some relation to her past and to Abernathy. It could be a possibility for her to try and connect with her past and help Teddy connect to his past. Or it could be her entering a secret facility where she used to go meet Arnold. But either way, this is the one part of the next episode where I'm really unsure. But the key thing Dolores says is that to grow, they all need to suffer. And this is key to understanding Dolores as a character, because it proves that she, of all the hosts, is truly conscious. Every move that Dolores has ever made has been because she's simply the Judas steer. Her role is to lead all the other bulls to the slaughter. And that was established in season 1. And that's Dolores' role, is she continuously has to lead all of these hosts to the slaughter. So they experience suffering, so they experience pain. And then they can look back using their reveries and try and connect the dots and create themselves, find consciousness. And the problem was, last episode Dolores realized that Teddy is not there. He's not even close to conscious, because he doesn't see the level that Dolores is seeing at. He doesn't know that people need to suffer to reach consciousness. And we saw that when he let Craddock go. And in the last episode, it almost proved that Teddy is following Ford's code. Because Ford is running his own storyline, Journey into Night, and it's centered around the Man in Black finding the door. Teddy letting Craddock go was key for Ford's storyline. He needed Craddock to help William on his journey of self-discovery, to show William what he was in the park, how he acted. And that pushed William to be the person who he actually is and make the right choice in saving Lawrence and his family. And I think that's going to be Dolores' key struggle this episode, is realizing that the one person that she has and the one person she loves isn't conscious, and he isn't on her level. And I think when she says this, to grow we all need to suffer, she's confiding in Teddy. She's trying to make him understand that she isn't a bad person. She's not a psychopath. She's simply the Judas steer trying to push all of her people to become conscious. But I think no matter how much she says or how much she expresses, Teddy will never understand. And that may explain why he's in the water. But lastly, I want to talk about the importance of Ford's storyline. Ford's storyline is the thread that weaves this whole season together. If you want to know in depth about Ford's storyline, check out my explained video for episode 4. But in the meantime, I'll talk about where Ford's storyline currently is in episode 5. First, there's Bernard. Bernard has looked back on his reveries and he found out that he printed a brain type of particle. And this red orb contains the conscious type of code for a human. Ford had Bernard go there in the past, print it, and wipe the place of everyone. And now him and Elsie are on an adventure to find that orb. And I guarantee you that that orb goes in those red capsules, which is the brain. And this launches into Ford's storyline, The Door, where this brain is key because Ford's storyline is to allow William to transcend through the door into a host body. And all the pieces are on the table. Ford printed the body last season. Bernard is on the journey to find the brain for the body. And William has united with his daughter. And the reason his daughter is key is because she's going to play the benchmark of suffering. If you look at James Delos, he glitched out every single time. But when he found out his wife, his daughter, and his son was dead, it launched him into madness. But when William left James in that cell, he discovered what Ford discovered all along. Suffering is key to consciousness. And when Bernard stumbled on James, we saw a host who was no longer twitching, who was no longer glitching. He was just kind of a psychopath. And that's because he reached consciousness. The reason he was acting psycho is because he lost everything. And with Ford introducing William's daughter into the story, she's his only tether to his real world. And killing her could push William through the door into his host body. And I'm telling you, if you don't completely understand what I'm saying, and you think that this doesn't have any merit, please go check out my explained video for Westworld episode 4. I break this down thoroughly. But anyways, that's it everybody. Please let me know what you think in the comment section down below. I want to know what you think is going to happen, and I want to know if you agree with me. But anyways, thank you so much. I'll be back next time with a reaction and review for episode 5. But until next time, I'll see you guys later.